All right, guys, in this video, what we're going to be doing now is getting our website conversion ads going. And to do that, we need to start with the targeting. So we're going to go back into the Audience Insight tool, and we're going to find brand loyal interests. All right, these are going to be companies. These are going to be well-known, established businesses within the niche, whether they've been around for a year or 10 years. The purpose of these interests are they're selling things on the front end. And hopefully, depending on your niche, you can get repeat buyers, right? Think about, again, car companies. Companies that are basically trying to get somebody to be a Ford buyer for life, right? And a lot of brands do this. I'm just using cars as an example. We're going to do it in the firefighter niche again. But what you're doing is just going after that loyalty, because loyalty is equal to people buying and spending money over and over and over again. So if you don't have any brand loyal type targets in your niche, that's possible but rare. We're going to move into businesses in the clicker type category, right? So the blogs, the websites, and the associations even possible. As long as there's a lot of information on that front end, and these guys are constantly trying to get people into their site. And these are going to be back into the category of the Facebook page is there as a secondary outlet for them to market to people, but the website is the primary. That's the clicker category. The buyer is that they're buying things constantly in the real world. They're very brand loyal, and those are going to be our first tier targets. The clicker is going to be the second tier targets that we only go after if we can't get those brand loyals, and that's right off the bat. We're going to start wide open again, and we're going to scale to the winning ages on the back end, right? So again, just like we did with our PPE, just like we did with our click to website, we're going to go after that wide open. And then we're going to see, all right, 25 to 34 bought, 55 to 64 bought, and they're both male. So we're going to go target those people with a new ad and scale on the back end of that. Now, another thing you can do, and this is down the road, we're going to focus on this in a later video, scale a website conversion ad into other optimization type interests, right? So the PPE interest that we used before, or the clicker interest that we used before, we understood that there was overlap. And so what we need to do is target those people for the converters as well. Because there are converters in those interests. We just need to target them to scale out. When we're focusing on the core people, then we're going to move over and scale out into those other interest types using the same thing in the same ad. So another thing that you can do, and this is called wide open modified. You can test with your profit so far. And I'll explain this more as we're creating the ads. Test with your profit so far. So say if you have $100 in profit of the campaign, I could then have the ability to create 10 $10 ads to run on day one of the website conversion ads and say everything goes south, right? Nobody buys. Then I break even on the campaign. Yes, I lost money that day, but the campaign is breaking even. So the point of this is basically buying data. I don't think because you have a hot product and you have great targeting that you're going to, basically not have a single conversion on your website conversion ads. That has rarely happened to me. It has happened, but a very small amount of it happened. So it's more of the rule again and not the exception. We're going after the rule here. So if we can do a wide open modified ad, basically using up all of our profit for the campaign so far, and aggressively target and aggressively go after our converter category to try to really take this ad to the next level. So I'll start with a wide open and then I'll move into a wide open modified, and that will kind of explain the mentality here of what we're doing, because the ultimate goal is always to buy data. So we can either do it on the front end and then buy the data and then scale out on the back end, or scale out on the front end and then kill the losers here and then just scale out and continue to scale out and scale up and really get aggressive. So it's the two different mentalities I wanted to present to you now, and it's all about how much you're willing to spend. But I wanted to give you both methods here so you can go as aggressive with this as possible and really try to get those sales through the roof. So let's go into the Audience Insight tool. All right, everybody, now we're in the Audience Insight tool at a top level. We are going to go ahead and say all United States, 25 to 54 men with firehouse.com. All right, that's at the top level. This is an interest that we found earlier on, and this is the demographics that we narrowed down into. So now what we're going to do is look through the interests that come up here, all of which are above 20x, which is our infinity target, and we're going to look for those converter type interests. So I'm going to go down here real quick and look over these, right? We're still sorted by relevance because we want big and we want high affinity. So let's look through here. Magazine, that's going to be something maybe we can go to down the road. Firestore, for sure. You can see I have it open here from before. Firestore is definitely a good one to list because that is, as it says, shopping and retail, right? Let's go with Firefighter Toolbox. It looks like it's a reference website. So while it sounds like something that would be in the converter range, it is not. All Hands Fire Equipment, professional service. All right, so this is a good niche for that to be true, right? It is a business, it's a service. So this is a good one for us to go after. I'll keep that on the list. It's not the biggest interest in the world, but we'll explain why that's not that important if we can get it in the Power Editor later. So Hook and Irons, that is another company. All right, we got that. Here's Black Helmet. I know that's a company. Huge amount of people, 379,000. Obviously, it's a clothing company doing pretty well for themselves. Here's Paratech Fire and Rescue Equipment. Again, not that huge, but let's take a look. It is a tools and equipment. All right, so that's a good amount. Let's start there and see what we can get to as far as audience size with these interests. So I'm in the Power Editor now. You should know how to get to here. It's in your Ads Manager. You click here, download the Power Editor. You can see I did it 41 minutes ago. And now what we're going to do is create a campaign. So this is going to be our Firefighter WC photo. We're going to go after the WC photo because A, the real estate, right? You get a 1200 by 1200. And B, you get to optimize for conversion. So if you've never done this ad type before, it's really great because it's kind of mixing the PPE with the website conversion, both of the benefits. You get a lot of real estate and you get to optimize for conversion. So we'll go over that here in a second. And let's just do, I think that's good for my title right now. So click to website. We want to switch this over to website conversion. You can see ad set. We're going to test this with wide open. And using the pixel, I don't have a pixel here for firefighters in this account. But what you can see here is a great example of what you're going to avoid by doing the steps before here, right? If I was actually running traffic to this product, you could see this in play here. But I don't have any fires on this pixel because it's a test pixel that I created for this purpose. So you can see how it's red. If you've gotten to this point, this should be green, right? If you followed the video so far, that pixel should be green because it has fires on it, preferably 50 to 100 plus fires on your pixel. So when you're listing it in here and it's red, I don't like running website conversion ads with an unverified pixel. The reason is that I'm not going to make my website conversion ad be the data buying pixel maturing category for myself. I do want my website conversion ad to be buying myself data as far as which demographics are going to be the winner, right? Is it male? Is it female? Is it 25 to 34? So on and so forth. But I don't want it to be buying the pixel data. That's what the engagement optimization and the clicker optimization was doing for me. I wasn't needing the pixel for those to work properly. I need the pixel for this to work properly. So this at this point for you should be green. So let's create ad. All right, so I'm going to go to my ad set here. we're going to match up our demographics, right? So we can start here. If you're doing this as a wide open ad, go ahead and give this $10. And let's go ahead and say men 25 to 54. Now I have my interest up here, right? So the fire store, you can see it comes up. All hands fire. Doesn't look like that one came up, right? Because the audience size wasn't that big. Remember, 56,000. It is a business, but it doesn't come up, so it's dropped off the list. Hook and irons. Yep, same thing. Not that big, right? Black helmet. $190,000 people. All right. You can close these guys out. Paratech. All right. See how nobody came up? I had 190,000 people in there before. I still have 190,000 people. I would remove that interest because it doesn't add anything to the audience. I do not want an increased chance of likes by association. So I don't want the audience to be any bigger than it should be. And I've already used these two interests to achieve that. So this guy's going to get dropped off. Let's go back here and try to find more people to target. So let's see about this brotherhood here. No, that doesn't look like it. Now I could step into the magazines if I wanted to, because people buy magazines. Looks pretty good. Let's see if we can get that. Okay, we squeezed out another 20,000 there. Not a huge amount. And there was one more magazine here. FireNation.com and Fire Rescue Magazine. All right. Again, a magazine. People buy a magazine. So let's go Fire Nation. Firefighter Nation, sorry. Huge interest, right? All right, so we squeeze out another 40,000 here. And that's great. So the concept here is not to get millions and millions of people at this point. What I'm doing here is getting as many people as I can in the high affinity interest, and then I'm going to start running a website conversion ad to them. Further building that conversion pixel. I'm going to go ahead and get more conversions, and then I'm going to create a lookalike audience off that conversion pixel. And that's going to be really where I scale out hard. Because lookalike audiences can do a lot of the work for you that you're going to get some traction on here doing it yourself manually, but you are not going to be able to come close to what Facebook can do for you with the conversion pixel and the lookalike audience. So we'll go ahead and save here. Now, I would go ahead, 250,000 is not that many people. So I'm not going to do a lot of the wide open modified here, and if any at all. I think 250,000 people for me is something that I would go ahead and say, just the mobile newsfeed and the desktop newsfeed, right? We have our demographics down, and then we'll do some optimization on the back end, right? So we'll see the winning demographics and refine, and then rerun ads to just those winning demographics. Right now, if I had about 1 million people, which in my nursing niche I can achieve, so I can get 1 million people in the nursing niche on this similar strategy, then I can do the wide open modified and do a lot of segmentation. What do I segment? That's a good question. I do it just as Facebook does it. So here you can see 25 to 34, 35 to 44, and 45 to 54. That's where I'm going to segment. as far as age demographics on the first wide open modified, right? We're not going too specific. I wouldn't split the mobile and desktop unless you do have 25 to 34 and it's above 500,000 people. Then I want you to go ahead and split mobile and desktop as well. But if it's not bigger than 500,000 people or 500 and below, then we're going to keep them together. So it's just about giving Facebook enough people to optimize through and not to stall you, essentially, but also still segmenting to a point to where I can get as much eyeballs on there as fast as possible. I don't have that luxury here in the firefighter niche, but you could, eventually have millions of people to go after, but we're going to rely on the lookalike audience and the conversion pixel to lead us to that point later on. So go ahead and set up your ad here. This is where we're going to select a page. And now we got our firefighter page selected. So what we're going to do is go to the use existing post. Now we're going to grab the post that we would have posted prior to this, right? If you're running a website conversion, it's important for you to go back to your page and post another 1200 by 1200 photo, very similar to what you're using for the PPE ad, but at the same time different because we're not going to be including the tag your friends. We don't want people tagging people. We want people buying. So the most important call to action and the only call to action that we're going to be using is buy. So now that we have our page selected, what we're going to do is use existing post. Click that right here. We're going to select the post. And we're going to select the post that I had put on my page designed for a WC photo ad. So what I want to do is go over that real quick. You can see Grand Store Opening Special. That's just a quick positioning of my product and what my product has to offer, right? It also gives people a reason to click through to get it, right? It's a special. Specials are limited in terms of time. So they have to jump on it if they want to get the special pricing. Get this one of a kind, again, unique, firefighter cross, perfect to wear anytime. Buy yours here. Obviously I don't have a link, but go ahead and use this one. And then you can see that my conversion tracking isn't going to be set up yet. You can actually use tracking pixels. Now, what's important about tracking pixels is that if you use Trackify, you're going to want to include the add to cart in the KPV here, the key page view. Those are essential for you to really take your stuff to the next level. We're going to use the add to cart pixel in the maturity stage here in a little bit in the coming videos, but these are going to be where you can track and get pixels to fire at different stages through your funnel. And is funnel as in landing page, add to cart, checkout, and all the way through as well. So you can do that in manual coding, but Trackify makes it very simple for you. So I don't have any here, but I would add some if I had it. And so follow Thomas's videos for further information around that. And then we're going to go ahead and upload this. I don't want to upload it now. What I do want to do is if I was going to go into the wide open stage, the wide open modified, I should say, stage, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this a few times. So I'll go ahead. There's my wide open. I'll grab 2 and duplicate that as well. So this, again, if I had about 1 million people in here, I could go to about 4 ads. It's safe to say that you want to get about 200 to 250 in each ad. Then that means you would have 4 ads to kind of get there, or 5 ads if you're really picky. But what I want to do is have 25 to 34, 35 to 44, 45 to 54. And that's about, that's my demographics. If I wanted to go above that, which we determined we didn't, I would have this one here. So while the target would be about 4 ads with about 250 in each, that doesn't seem to be possible for us here as far as age demographics right off the bat, because we're trying to mimic what Audience Insights has, right? They have 25 to 34, 35 to 44, 45 to 54. So if these audiences were, say, big, and we're going to recap this, guys. I just want you to follow with me right now. But if these audiences were still big, what I could do is split them at the platform level, right? So gender being excluded here, we could then go to platform because we already picked men as our target buyer for this. Platform is the next level. So that would be, it's like saying you can duplicate all of these, and then these would get just the mobile while the other ones got desktop. So that's the splitting at the demographic level and the splitting the splitting at the platform level as well. You can also split at the gender level, and that's a different thing entirely here because we're only doing the men here of 25 to 34. So that's what I want you to take into consideration. We're not gonna do those right now. We are gonna go back to our slides and recap those to make sure that it's 100% clear for you to follow when you're segmenting. All right, so now we're going to be recapping the segmentation because I know that can be confusing. So if I'm running something wide open, this is going to be anywhere from 0 to 250,000 people in my audience. I'm going to have male and female combined, but I typically target only one of the genders with my product because I like selling gender-specific products because they just convert better for me. But if I did have a gender-neutral product, I would run male and female combined. The core age group will also be combined. So that's anything over 10% in the AI tool. We talked about that in a previous video. And also platform will be combined, mobile and desktop. So I don't really segment anything. It's a wide open name for a reason. It's basically wide open to that core group. And then I'm going to take the winning demographics, the winning platform, and the winning gender, and I'm going to move it over to a back-end split out. So that's when I'm going to look at my report, see who won, and then basically go from there. So wide open modified has 3 different layers, and then I got the kind of the rough, the rule basically on how I segment. So I split at age first, so I'll split out 25, 34, and so on in the ranges of 250 to 500,000. And then the male and female will be next, and that's in one gender specific. If I had a gender neutral, I will do that when I have an audience of 500 to 750,000. I also do the age at that point as well. So you're doing the gender and the age. So if I don't have a gender to split out, if I'm running to just one, then I'm going to go ahead and go to level 3 if I have 750 to 1 million, and that's going to be the platform, the mobile and the desktop. So if you have a 1 million plus, which is typically my audience, I'm splitting at the platform, male and female, and age. And I have tons of ads running once I'm getting to the website conversion because I immediately want to know who's buying. And I can scale those up and I don't have to wait. And I don't have to, be fearful or frightful of competition coming in and ripping me off while I'm still trying to buy data. Either way is perfectly fine. The bigger the audience, the more attention you're likely going to have because a lot of marketers tend to go for bigger audiences, right? So if you're in a small audience, you don't have to worry as much about getting ripped off as, say, somebody in the nursing niche. So that's just something I wanted to consider and something I wanted to recap for you. Each one of these, we're going to be starting at about a $5 to $10 range, whatever you're comfortable with. I go for the $10 because I like to, again, buy data. We also talked about that profit, right? If I have so much profit, I'm willing to buy some data and break even in terms of the campaign. If I get no sales, as long as I know who's buying. A lot of people do the slow cook method, and that worked very well for us for a while. But we've been leaning more and more towards spending money, not getting outrageous, but we need to spend a little bit more than the $5 that we did before for that slow cook to properly spend money. Because what we're noticing is that conversion cost that Facebook is optimizing for has to have enough budget throughout the day to really justify you getting traffic. And that's why a lot of website conversion ads stall. Is if you do $5, but your conversion optimization cost is, say, $35 or $40, it starts at $30 and he moves it way up. But if you get the traffic at the $40 level or the $20 level and you only have $5 to spend, have you really given it enough money to properly optimize. And that's the kind of thing we're worried about. And that's why we've been testing higher budgets. That being said, we always try to find our ceiling. Sometimes we will get ads that we can boost to $100 a day on a website photo. But a lot of the time, the majority, the rule in this instance, has been staying around the $10 range and then splitting and scaling out. So in the next video, we're going to talk about getting your reports up and then taking a conversion pixel, doing a lookalike audience off of it, and then using that to really get to the larger scope of people. And we have some math that we want to go over in the conversion pixel side and the lookalike audience side that we want to make sure you do so you get the most out of your lookalike. So we'll talk in the next video.